Now, what's the third step after store of value? It is medium of exchange. And this is what the spend and replace army wants to push us to very quickly. They want to skip past the hodl stage. They want to skip past the holding on to it, where enough people in the world have it to then become a medium of exchange. They want to do it now when only 0.5% of the world has it. What major effect is that going to have? Today, Bitcoin is a terrible currency. It is an amazing store of value. Arguably, it's the best store of value vehicle human beings have ever had. We've had gold, we've had silver, we've had copper, we've had rocks, we've had wampum, we've had seashells, we've had beads. But Bitcoin is arguably the best savings tool human beings have ever had. And this group wants to skip past that and go to spending it, letting it go. This is not the time to do that, in my opinion. Again, everything I'm saying is my opinion. The medium of exchange period will come, and it will come naturally when there's a much greater number of people that have it. And so when 60% of the world has this, the same way about 65% of the world has access to the internet today, and that happened over a 25-year period, more or less. When 60% of the world has it, it can then naturally transition over into, you know what? I like that car. I like that house. I like this person's artwork. You understand? Because enough people have it to start moving it between each other. But today, while Bitcoin is the best, in my opinion, the best store of value the world has ever had, it's the best savings mechanism the world has ever had, it is the worst money right now. It's the worst currency. I have a business. I tried to incorporate Bitcoin into the business. It sucks. I just have to be honest with you. Every business owner will tell you that it freaking sucks. It's not ready for that. And so when Bitcoin was a collectible, it was the best collectible the world has ever seen, ever had. Look at how many wealthy people for the rest of their lives, generational wealth that was created because it was a collectible. It was the best collectible ever known to man. It's moved to the store of value stage, and now it is the best store of value mankind has ever had. But if you try to push it into the next evolution, into the next stage, which it's not ready for, it stops being the best in the world. It starts being the worst in the world. It's a worse unit of account. It's a bad unit of account. It's a bad medium of exchange today. So we can't rush this. And remember what I said, the store of value stage, the stage that we're in right now, where you hold on to it for dear life and you never let it go. You never let it go. This is what creates the most meteoric price appreciation in the asset. It is only when that price appreciation starts to slow down that it starts to naturally morph into the medium of exchange, because the opportunity risk of upside movement has been diminished. So as long as this opportunity cost, if I spend Bitcoin today, 10 Bitcoin today on a house, it's possible that that house in the future is going to be 1 Bitcoin. That's opportunity cost. As long as that opportunity cost is high, we should be hodling. We should not be spending, in my opinion. And listen, I'm okay if you're living on the Bitcoin standard and you have to spend your Bitcoin. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the idea that if every single person who has Bitcoin doesn't start spending it, that Bitcoin's going to fail. That is not what I buy into. Medium of exchange, we're not ready for. In mass, do it if you like. That's a personal choice. But Bitcoin does not need to be a medium of exchange for mass adoption. And let me give you one key example. Gold is the most valuable single asset in the world today. It is approaching, if not having already crossed, $12 trillion. Apple's not $12 trillion, and that's the most valuable equity asset in the world today. No asset, no single asset is more valuable than gold today, $12 trillion. Yet merchants are not accepting gold as payment. People are not carrying gold around in their pockets on their cell phones, using it to buy milk, using it to buy burgers and beers. It's not a medium of exchange. It always had a problem moving from store of value to medium of exchange. In fact, that's one of its big failures. Its ability to be easily transportable and be easily a medium of exchange, because you can't shave a brick of gold to buy milk. So it never really became a full-fledged money. It always basically stopped its journey at store of value. People use silver as the medium of exchange and gold as their savings mechanism. Then we went to using paper notes, promissory notes, backed by your Bitcoin held by someone as the medium of exchange, and your Bitcoin stayed stationary at a custodian. And then we moved to fiat being used as the medium of exchange that was originally tied to the gold that you had stored with someone else at some particular point, until that link was severed in 1971. My point is, gold over a 5,000-year period moved through only two stages of money formation. Trinkets at first, jewelry, rings, necklaces, piercings. Two, I'm saving my excess in this, and it never really could get past the store of value stage appropriately. And yet, without ever getting past store of value, it is $12 trillion today. Bitcoin's what, a half a billion, 600 billion? It's a baby. We need to stay in the HODL state, the saving state, the whole state, not the spend state. We need this for quite a long while. Now, while it took gold 5,000 years to achieve a $12 trillion valuation, I do not think anything close to that is necessary for Bitcoin to not only take out gold, but to rise in mass value from a US dollar point of view exponentially higher, because the digital non-material form of an analog thing is always exponentially higher and more valuable than the analog thing that it replaces. To me, the appropriate narrative today is that Bitcoin is not a currency, despite being labeled a cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is not a money yet, despite being called a potential global money. Bitcoin is a savings technology. Bitcoin is a store of value. And yes, Bitcoin is more than digital gold by a long shot. But right now, its best use case is as a digital gold today, because we're at step two. And step two is the digital gold store of value stage. So it shines better, for lack of a better term. Bitcoin shines better. We explain it as a digital gold today, not as a dollar, not as a currency, not as a money. It's terrible. But I tell you this, it's terrible because that's not where it should be. A 14-year-old should not be in certain adult situations. They're good as a 14-year-old in 14-year-old situations, but they might be bad in 35-year-old situations. Bitcoin is no different, in my opinion. So we can't force it to speed up and be a 35-year-old when it's a freaking 14-year-old.